Freedom, rebellion, and pure American muscle. What's more American? Our guns are the thunder of a V-twin engine, the gleam of chrome, and the legacy of a machine that's been rolling down highways for over a century. From military heroes to Hollywood legends, these are the most 15 significant Harleys ever built. In number 15, we have the Fat Boy. Big, bold, and unapologetically American, the Fat Boy is one of those bikes that has carried its reputation through the decades, and a lot of that's thanks to its movie star moment in Terminator 2. That image of Arnold riding off on a Fat Boy cemented its place in pop culture, and Harley has kept that DNA alive. First thing you notice, the tires. Huge, beefy, wide enough to make any other cruiser look scrawny. It's got one of the widest rear tires on any production motorcycle, giving it a dominant presence on the road. But with great width comes, well, less nimbleness. This isn't a flickable sports bike, it's a highway king. Cornering feels like wrestling a sumo wrestler, and that's part of its charm. And let's be real, that stability at high speeds is exactly why riders love it. Underneath, you've got the Milwaukee 8114 engine pumping out around 100 horsepower and 175 Nm of torque. That's a lot of grunt. It's not the fastest bike on the planet, but it's got enough raw power to remind you that torque is king. The Fat Boy is all about cruising in style while having the pull to leave most cars in the dust at a stoplight. And if you're worried about comparing it to the 117, let me tell you, the difference isn't enough to justify an upgrade unless you're chasing numbers on paper. The ride itself, comfortable. The fat tires, they soak up the road. Because of their width, they tend to follow every crack and bump. You'll feel it. But that's the trade-off for that iconic look and stability. Footboards give you versatility. You can stretch out or keep it tucked in, making long rides feel easy. And let's not forget about the classic Harley clunky gearbox. It's heavy, stiff, and finding neutral can sometimes feel like a game of luck. But hey, that's Harley for you. The Softail design also plays a huge role in making this ride smoother than you'd expect from such a beast. It hugs the road, giving you that planted feeling that every cruiser should have. And if you're wondering about top speed, the Fat Boy can hit around 105 miles an hour. Not super bike fast, but more than enough to own the highway. Design-wise, Harley went all in with chrome, and it looks stunning. But chrome is high maintenance, and if you're not careful, moisture and condensation can lead up to rust. So keeping it polished is a must. What's crazy is how popular this bike still is. In 2022 alone, Harley sold over 3,000 units of the Fat Boy in the States, proving that its appeal hasn't faded a bit. And with a price tag of around $19 grand for the 2023 model, it's not exactly cheap, but you're paying for a legend. At number 14, we got a bike that rolled in like it had something to prove, and boy did it deliver. The 2007 Nightster. At a time when traditional cruisers were getting a little too comfortable with their chrome and polish, the Nightster went totally rogue. It ditched the bright, shiny finishes in favor of a mean, blacked-out aesthetic that screamed urban rebellion. Harley wasn't just playing dress-up, though. Underneath that shadowy exterior was a reworked 1200cc Evolution engine that got a serious performance boost thanks to electronic fuel injection. This wasn't just about squeezing out more power, it meant smoother, more reliable performance no matter what the weather threw at you. Combine that with an updated intake system and refined engine mapping, and you have a machine that could rip through city streets with effortless torque delivery. The lowered suspension and bob fenders weren't just about looking cool, they actually made a difference. This thing handled with precision while still keeping that raw, unfiltered Sportster DNA. Of course, some skeptics out there scoffed at the idea that Harley's old-school loyalists would embrace such a radical shift. But those doubts didn't last long. Dealers had waitlists stretching for months as demand skyrocketed, while other manufacturers were still clinging to chrome and nostalgia. The Nightster went ahead and rewrote the rulebook for what a modern cruiser could be. And let's be real, it didn't just sell bikes. It inspired a whole generation of custom builders to rethink what a Harley could look like. Number 13, 1958 Duo Glide. Now that was a turning point for American motorcycling. Back in the day, long-distance riding wasn't exactly comfortable, but Harley changed that forever with the introduction of rear suspension. Seems basic now, but in 1958 it was revolutionary. Harley's engineers spent 3 years refining a hydraulically damped swing arm system, testing it on every kind of road imaginable. The result? A ride smoother than anything before it. And it wasn't just about comfort. The panhead engine got serious upgrades too. Improved oil circulation and refined valve timing made power delivery seamless, setting a new standard for V-twin performance. Then there was braking. The hydraulic rear drum brake provided stopping power that actually matched the bike's improved handling. Frame geometry was tweaked to maintain stability even when carrying passenger and full luggage. That's right, the Duo Glide was built for the long haul. Riders were covering over 1,000 miles a day, something unheard of at the time. Number 12, we have the Softail Heritage Classic. This thing has been around since 1986, and while it might not be the top-selling Harley, it's easily one of the most well-rounded models out there. It was inspired by the 1949 Hydra Glide, which means it carried that old-school cruiser look, but don't let that fool you. Underneath all that chrome was the Milwaukee 8107 engine pumping out 110 pound-feet of torque, which means you're getting both style and power. The Softail suspension keeps the ride smooth, and with a low 26.3-inch seat height, it's easy to handle even in slow-moving traffic. At 730 pounds, it also handles significantly lighter than the Road King or the Street Glide, making it a solid choice for riders who want a manageable bagger. Now, let's talk practicality. Those slide bags, yeah, they're a little smaller than what you'd find on a Road Glide, but they still get the job done for road trips. And speaking of long rides, the stock seat is surprisingly comfortable, though adding a backrest wouldn't hurt. It also gets about 47 miles a gallon, which means you're looking at a range of a couple hundred miles before needing to refuel. Price-wise, you're looking at around 20 grand, but that's before you throw in accessories. And with Harley, you know there's going to be plenty. Engine guards, additional bags, custom seats, you name it. The Heritage Classic gives you that vintage aesthetic without sacrificing comfort or reliability. Number 11, Harley-Davidson Dyna. Harley-Davidson Dyna was introduced in 1991 as a more refined successor to the FXR. It was Harley's answer to those wanting a rubber-mounted engine without the bulk of a Softail. Designed with a new swing arm frame, the Dyna lineup quickly became the go-to platform for riders who wanted customizability without sacrificing performance. One of the most notable models in the Dyna lineup was the Super Glide, which had been part of Harley's history since 1971. It found the perfect middle ground between a cruiser and a touring bike, making it a fan favorite for decades. With its bobber-inspired design and aggressive performance, the Super Glide gave riders that raw, connected-to-the-road feeling while still offering some comfort for longer rides. The 2016 Dyna Super Glide was powered by the 103 cubic-inch twin-cam engine, pushing out around 85 horsepower and hitting a top speed of 110 miles an hour. This made it an excellent choice for riders looking for a no-frills power bike that could handle both city streets and long highway cruises. Despite its popularity, the Dyna lineup discontinued in 2017, with Harley shifting its focus to the Softail platform. During its day, Dyna sold over 10,000 units annually in the US, cementing its place in Harley's history. One of the biggest reasons for this legendary status was the versatility. Riders could customize it countless ways, making each Dyna a unique expression of the rider's style. If you're looking to get your hands on a used Dyna today, expect to pay anywhere between 7 and 12 Gs, depending on the year and condition. Number 10, 1984 FXST Softail. This one didn't just make waves, it saved Harley-Davidson. Back in the early 80s, Harley was staring down a financial crisis that could have ended the company for good. Enter the 1984 FXST Softail, a bike that seamlessly blended old-school aesthetics with modern engineering, proving that Harley's best days weren't behind it. The real magic? Hidden rear suspension. Engineer Bill Davis spent years perfecting a system that delivered a smooth ride while keeping the rigid classic hardtail look intact. The result? A triangulated swing arm design with 2 horizontally mounted shock absorbers tucked under the transmission. Not just for show, this setup gave riders the best of both worlds: vintage style and legitimate comfort. Under the hood, the Softail featured Harley's Evolution engine, a game-changer for reliability. Improved oil circulation and cooling meant critics finally had to shut up about Harley's engines being unreliable. Lab tests pushed these power plants to 500 hours at max RPM without failure. Proof that Harley was back in business. And the numbers don't lie. Many of these bikes have crossed 100,000 miles without breaking a sweat. The Softail wasn't just a success. It was a statement that Harley wasn't going anywhere. Number 9. XLH Sportster. Everything about this bike screams vintage Harley perfection. This was a must-have if you were taking it to rallies like Daytona or Sturgis. This model may have been a staple in the Harley lineup since 1957, earning its place as one of the most beloved bikes in the company's history. Originally designed as a lightweight entry-level ride, it evolved over the decades into a machine that could hold its own on any road. By 2020, the XLH Sportster was running an 883cc engine with about 53 horsepower, hitting speeds around 100 miles an hour, plenty for cruising and short-distance touring. What made the Sportster such a hit? Versatility. Whether you wanted a chopper-style build or just a solid commuter bike, this model could be customized to fit your style. With over 300,000 units sold in the US alone, it remains one of Harley's best-selling models, with used prices ranging from $3,000 for older models to around $10,000 for more recent versions. Number 8. Harley-Davidson Street Glide. The Harley-Davidson Street Glide has been a staple of American touring since it rolled onto the scene in 2006. Designed for riders who want long-haul comfort without giving up that classic Harley edge, the bike has remained a top choice for nearly 2 decades. It's got that unmistakable batwing fairing, giving it a sleek yet aggressive look, whether you're cruising down the interstate or parked at a roadside diner. At the heart of the 2023 Street Glide Special is the Milwaukee 8114 engine, delivering 92 pound-feet of torque. That meant effortless highway cruising even when packed up with luggage and riding 2 up. With a top speed of 110 miles per hour, it's got enough power to handle the open road without turning into a speed demon's nightmare. But power isn't the only reason this bike has a loyal following. Comfort is key, and Harley packed the Street Glide with features to keep those miles rolling easy. The infotainment system, cruise control, and premium audio setup make sure that every ride feels as smooth as it looks. It's no surprise Harley sold 8,000 units in 2022 alone. This machine is built for riders who want reliability, style, and that pure Harley experience. Number 7. The Road King. The Road King, been around since 1994, and let's be real, there's a reason it hasn't gone anywhere. This is the bike for those who want that perfect mix of old-school cruiser charm and modern touring capability. The 2023 Road King Special, that boy is packing the Milwaukee 8114 engine, punching out a solid 100 pound-feet of torque. It's got power, it's got presence, and it's got that unmistakable Harley attitude. Hit the highway and you're cruising at 110 miles an hour like it's nothing. But what really sells the Road King isn't just the power, it's the ride. The Softail suspension, upgraded braking system, and well-thought-out ergonomics mean you're staying comfortable whether it's a short ride or a full-day tour. Now, if you're eyeing one of these, expect to drop around $23K. It's a big bike with a hefty presence, but somehow Harley keeps it surprisingly manageable on the road. In 2022 alone, over 6,000 of these found new homes in the US, which tells you something. A standout feature: simplicity. No big front fairings, no unnecessary gadgets, just a clean, streamlined ride. That also makes it about 100 pounds lighter than the Ultra Limited, which, let's be honest, is a serious bonus if you're not into hauling around extra weight for the sake of bells and whistles. And if you want a more aggressive ride, swap out the windshield. The bike looks meaner, and honestly, that wind in your face just hits different. Number 6. Harley-Davidson VRSC V-Rod, a bike that turned the Harley world upside down. This wasn't your typical air-cooled old-school cruiser. Nope, this was Harley's moonshot into the world of high-performance muscle bikes. It featured the Revolution engine, a liquid-cooled, high-revving power plant developed with Porsche. Yes, that Porsche. And it wasn't just for show. The V-Rod could put many sports bikes to shame. When it hit the streets back in '99, it was Harley's first ever liquid-cooled motorcycle, making it a major departure from tradition. That engine was no slouch either. The 2005 V-Rod came with an 1130cc liquid-cooled V-twin, producing around 115 miles an hour and a top speed of over 130 miles an hour. That made it one of the fastest Harleys ever built. The V-Rod didn't just go fast, it looked fast. Its sleek, futuristic design made it stand out in Harley's lineup, but not everyone was a fan. Some die-hard Harley riders thought it strayed too far from the classic cruiser look. Despite mixed reactions, the V-Rod had a strong following, and Harley sold over 50,000 units before discontinuing it in 2017. If you're looking for one today, expect to pay anywhere from $7,000 to $15,000 depending on the year. But make no mistake, if you get your hands on a V-Rod, you're getting a piece of Harley history that broke all the rules. Okay, number 5 was born in 1970, the XR750. This was not just another Harley. It was a direct response to fierce competition from British and Japanese bikes tearing up the AMA Grand National Championships. Harley had to innovate and fast. The solution? A lightweight 750cc aluminum alloy engine with a singular goal: winning. And when it did, the XR750 became the most successful racing motorcycle of all time, securing 29 AMA national championships and cementing itself as an untouchable force on the dirt track. Evel Knievel, the daredevil himself, made the XR750 his go-to for stunts, including the infamous 130-foot jump. This wasn't just a racing bike, it was a cultural icon. Even today, original XR750s are rare and costly, fetching anywhere from 25 to 50 G's at auction. If you want to see one in person, head to Throttle Stop in Wisconsin, home to some of the finest motorcycles ever built. Despite being discontinued in the early 80s, the XR750's impact lives on, influencing modern flat-track bikes and remaining one of the most revered motorcycles in history. It wasn't just a machine, it was Harley's way of proving they weren't backing down, and they never did. Number 4, Livewire 1. Launched in 2019, this was Harley's first ever electric motorcycle, a bold move for a brand built on loud, powerful V-twin engines. But don't let the lack of rumble fool you. The Livewire 1 is a serious machine. It packs a 15.5 kilowatt-hour battery that delivers 105 horsepower, launching from 0 to 60 miles an hour in just 3 seconds. That is super bike level acceleration, and it does it all in complete silence. What's even more impressive, how about the range? With up to 146 miles of charge, it's one of the more practical electric motorcycles for city commuting. Sure, it's not replacing gas-powered Harleys for long-haul touring, but for riders who want instant torque and zero emissions, it's an intriguing option. The top speed hits 110 miles an hour, making it more than capable on the highway. Harley sold around 1,000 units back in 2022 at a price tag of around $22K, so it's definitely an investment, but considering the savings on fuel and maintenance, some riders see it as the future. Number 3, Harley-Davidson Pan America. Now, this isn't just any adventure bike. It's Harley's answer to the BMW and Honda African Twin, two of the most dominant bikes in the segment. Pan America runs a 1250cc Revolution Max V-twin, pushing out 150 horsepower and 94 pound-feet of torque. That's about 50 more ponies than Harley's usual big twin engines, and just a hair under what a turbocharged Road King can do. Yeah, you heard that right. It's also got a top speed of around 125 miles an hour, making it just as comfy on the highways as it is on the trails. Weight-wise, it sits at 559 pounds, only slightly heavier than the competitors. And to keep it manageable, Harley made the engine a structural part of the frame, a trick that Japanese brands have been doing for decades. The tech, it's impressive. A massive infotainment system that lets you customize your display from full widgets to just the basics. It's loaded with ride modes like Street, Sport, Off-Road, Off-Road Plus, even Rain mode. Off-Road Plus is like BMW's Endura Pro, where the ABS lets you lock up the rear tire for better control in dirt and mud. Suspension? Semi-active and adjustable. When the bike stops, the suspension lowers so shorter riders can get their feet down. No aftermarket lowering kits needed, no messing with the geometry. Harley also thought about worst-case scenarios. What if you lose your key or the battery dies? BMW's got a workaround where you touch the key to a sensor, but Harley took it a step further. Pan America has a keypad that lets you start the bike without a key at all. That means if you drop your key in the woods, you're not stranded. In its first year, Harley sold 7,000 units of the Pan America, proving that adventure riders were willing to give it a shot. And with a starting price of around $17K, it's competitively priced against other big ADV bikes like BMW's GS. It also packs in cutting-edge tech like a Bluetooth-enabled touchscreen and cornering ABS, making it a legitimate contender in the adventure touring category. Number 2, the FX Superglide. The FX Superglide wasn't exactly beloved back in 1971, but over time it became something of a cult classic. People ripped off that rear fender as fast as they could back then, swapping it for a regular one. But looking at it now, that oddball design makes it a unique piece of Harley history. Harley took a full dresser, yanked off the unnecessary parts, and threw a Sportster front end on it. Same frame, same rear wheels, same motor. It was basically Harley playing mix and match. And then, for some reason, they mounted the shifter in the most awkward way possible, forcing riders to deal with this unnatural foot placement. The design was so bad that the very next year, Harley corrected the mistake. But despite its rocky start, FX Superglide is actually credited as the first factory custom motorcycle, because before this, riders had to piece together their own customs, mixing and matching Harley parts in their garages. FX frame that debuted with this model would go on to be used in many future Harley customs. It was a game changer, combining the raw power of the 74 cubic inch shovelhead engine with a more compact frame, making it faster and more maneuverable than the big Harleys of the time. Doc Tokyo from Waterbury, Connecticut knew there was something special about the Superglide, even when no one else did. Back in the 80s, a guy walks into a shop with a trunk full of junk parts, about to toss them in the trash. Among them, the infamous boat tail fender. So Doc picks it up for $100, then sits on it for decades. Then, 20 years later, another guy rolls in with a basket case 1971 FX Superglide that's missing. You guessed it? That same fender. Doc knew what he had to do. Piece by piece, he rebuilds the bike, tracks down the decals, restores the original paint, and gets the engine and transmission fully rebuilt. Now, nearly 50 years after the original release, the bike is almost completely restored, about 98% there, a real collector's piece, even if it was one of Harley's biggest flops at the time. Over its production run, FX Superglide evolved and became a favorite among riders who wanted a bike that came ready to customize straight from the factory. It was a hit with the counterculture movement, blending performance with that rebellious attitude. By the time it got discontinued in '06, over 150,000 units had been sold. These days, vintage models can still be found on the market, with prices going from $8 to $15,000 depending on the condition. Number 1. Harley-Davidson VR1000. The story starts in the late 80s when Harley decides to step into the world of AMA superbike racing. At the helm of this ambitious project is Mark Tuttle, who wanted to make a Harley that could go toe-to-toe with the best in the industry. The result was the VR1000, a technological departure from the company's air-cooled cruisers. It featured a liquid-cooled 60-degree V-twin engine with double overhead camshafts and 4 valves a cylinder, a radical change from the traditional Harley formula. With a displacement of 1,000 cc, it pushed out 135 horsepower, a serious figure for the time, putting it in the same league as competitors from Suzuki, Honda, and Yamaha. Harley didn't cut corners with the chassis either. The VR1000 was built on a twin-spar aluminum frame designed for rigidity and performance. It came equipped with an inverted front fork, a sophisticated rear shock absorber setup, and an aerodynamic fairing that looked nothing like the brand's usual offerings. It was a serious race machine, built from the ground up with no direct ties to Harley's street lineup. The VR1000 made its racing debut in '94 at the AMA Superbike Championship. This was Harley-Davidson stepping into a battlefield dominated by Japan and Europe. While the bike showed promise, reliability issues and underwhelming power figures kept it from achieving sustained success. Though it managed to secure a few podium finishes, including a notable second-place result in the Superbike race, these moments weren't enough to establish it as a dominant force. Development setbacks meant that by the time it hit the track, it was already lagging behind the competition. Production eventually got halted in 2001, making it the end of Harley's Superbike experiment. Despite the struggles, the VR1000 remains an important chapter in Harley-Davidson's history. The innovations from this project later influenced future engine designs, including the Revolution engine found in the V-Rod. Harley only produced about 1,000 units of the VR1000, making an incredibly rare collector's item today. Depending on condition, these bikes can fetch anywhere between $15,000 and $25,000, an ironic twist for a machine that struggled to make an impact in its prime. Did we leave out your favorite? Or maybe you think one of these shouldn't have made the list? Let us know in the comments down there below.